Traffic Live is a very hands-on and rich tool for project managers. So if I'm a project manager, I can find very easily anything that relates to something that I might be working on. I've got a very rich search feature here with regards to key information. So it could show me people we might deal with. It could show me any quotes that I've put together or any jobs. So here I'm interested in having a look at job number 2. I can see a list of all of those all. It's 111, extremely quick to load because Traffic Live is designed to work quickly. I'm just going to quickly have a look at job number 2 as the project manager responsible for this. I could have alternatively gone to a list and clicked on that. So the key information it's showing me about job 2 is a very visual dashboard. So firstly, I can see how many hours that we had on this job from the original quote, how many are put into workflow, how many we've burnt or used up, and how many of those are overrunning. Now this is put on screen the most important concern of a project manager. What is my current cost to overservicing? How is my project running? How many tasks are progressing? How many are complete? What's the issues with any of those? And any other information. As well, I can see that from an estimate to actual on time, both money and how far along we are, and giving us a total. If I'm interested in finances, I can of course lift up underneath the bonnet and see all of that information, even right the way down to estimated costs and profit and taking into account who's the team is that's scheduled onto that. Versus, of course, what we've estimated and then what's actually happening. But in Traffic Live, we love to visualize things. So this tells me the value of overservicing, how much is left to my deadline, how my tasks are progressing, and even how the team is feeling. If I need more granular detail in that, as a project manager, I can certainly just click on it and drill in. It will show me here my estimate to actual on hours and on money, and of course how happy the team are feeling. And even how allocated each of these tasks are. So it breaks a job down into each individual tasks. And from a project management perspective, these include things like milestones. I'm going to quickly come back to this, but keyly I can also show you some very, very powerful list views. So if I was a project manager and I was concerned about individual tasks, I could simply click on my tasks and it could show me any of my tasks that are currently unhappy or have issues, how many hours have been burnt on those tasks, and who actually is allocated or currently working on them, and when the deadline date was. Traffic Live is very powerful in allowing us to slice and dice information from a project management perspective. If I've got any issues or concerns, I can have a quick look at those. I can drill into any data and see exactly what's going on. If a task is complete, I can click it as complete and that will come out of the workflow. As a project manager, I can also put together projects and jobs. Let's go and put together a quick quote. On the left-hand side, I've got my clients, and I can have that as a toggled list to show me other views. If I wanted to go and raise a quote for Coca-Cola, I can see my client, I can see any projects we have running currently with Coca-Cola, and I can open any of those up and put together an additional quote. Or alternatively, I could go and create a new project and then add a quote to it. In this instance, we've got the Pearl rebrand. I'm just going to simply add a quote to this. And I'm going to call this the Pearl website. I can put together a brief, or I could even drag and drop one. And if I was to drag and drop one, what I could do is grab something from my desktop and simply drag that in. In this instance, it's going to be a brief, and I can record that as a brief. All of these drop downs are customized to you. And what we can do is we can upload that brief, and I could even send it off to somebody within the organisation. If that's gone off to somebody, then of course what will happen is it'll send them a real-time notification, and you'll see that come across my screen very shortly. So that brief has gone off. They can then click on that to then go to that document to view it and approve it or amend it. Lovely. So if I wanted to put together a quote for this job, quotes in Traffic Live are made up of time, fees, purchases or expenses. Or alternatively, I could just write something in, or alternatively I could use a template, and I've got a number of templates here, from advertising to branding to design to print to digital, and these templates can relate to the type of work that you might do. So my digital templates are banners and websites. And actually I'm going to go not with a brochure site, but an HTML site, and I'm going to start with a promotional HTML website. I've simply dragged and dropped that in, and then it's pulled together the stages or tasks that I would go through for producing a website. I could replace that, or I could add to it. Now I've pulled together a template, and actually I've got here a hosting cost. What I might want to do is just pull that to the bottom. For whatever reason, my template was saved with hosting at the top, and I'm just going to pull that to the bottom. So everything here is amendable. I can change the number of hours. It just gives us a consistent starting point, and that's really quite important for at least allowing us some consistency when we start. So I've got here what we call tasks, and within that I've got stages and then tasks that can also be grouped into or out of that, and I can pull those in or out depending on how I want those tasks to be aligned. Now I'm going to turn this into a quote. It gives me a unique quote number, and it could be something that I might want to send out to my client. So we've got what we call an output button, and that allows me to send that out to a predefined template format, and I can send and issue that. So what it's going to do for this quote is it's actually going to drop that onto an email. I can have a look at that. It can be branded and looked like how you might want it to look. They're set up in HTML, and that's all done by you within the back of Traffic Live. So here, of course, this is going out to Caroline. Now the important thing here, excuse me, is that has all been tagged to put everything together. Alternatively, this quote, I could see a pipeline showing me all of my quotes or anything that I might need to manage together. And it shows me how far along this pipeline my quotes are moving. Now quotes can turn themselves into jobs, and from a jobs perspective, we can take those jobs into a scheduling or resourcing view, of which we can request resource. I'll come back shortly and create another movie for you to see showing that process.